Hi, I'm Jennifer Wise. Thank you for joining me to learn my process for preserving photos. I know everyone's preferences are a little bit different, but I think there's a lot to be said for learning a proven process and then using it yourself. My process is one that I've been doing for years, and it helps me keep my photos and my videos organized. They're easy to find, and they are preserved in all three ways that photo experts recommend without breaking the bank or losing my mind. So I've decided to share that. My own process, and I hope that it will be helpful to you. Whether you follow this process exactly the way I do, or you just take a few nuggets that will help you, um, I hope that you will enjoy learning this. If you would prefer to start with the basics, I'm sort of jumping ahead to what I actually do. But if you would prefer to start with the basics, you can find them in my e-guide, which is called Simplifying Photo Preservation and Overcoming Overwhelm. And I will put a link to that in the pinned comment of this video on YouTube. So before I get to the process, I want to start with the most important thing to start with, which is setting aside the time. So I do this before I start the process, and I have five parts of the process. But again, we need to start with getting the time. I know that to find time, you actually have to make it. And so I take care of my photos and videos in two different blocks of time that kind of serve two different purposes. So I want to go over that first before I tell you about my five um, parts of my process. So the first block of time that I set aside, I call 10 minutes daily. It's basically just setting aside 10, maybe 15 minutes every day for photo upkeep. This is how I take care of the photos that I just barely took. It looks a little bit different every day, depending on what I'm doing, but I like to do it in the mornings. I don't usually worry about going over that allotted time, but sometimes I've got other things going on and other appointments. And so I'll literally just set a timer, 10 minutes usually. It's so much better than skipping it, even when I have other things going on, because that daily consistency really keeps me in the groove. And so that means that I don't have to spend a lot of time trying to remember what I was doing or where I was or where I left off. It's literally the most efficient use of my time. And so that's why that consistency, even in that tiny chunk of 10 minutes, maybe 15, is really important for me. I also break up bigger projects into smaller chunks that I just do 10 minutes at a time. And usually with that, I will just set a timer because, if it's a big project, you could go on for the rest of your life. So I usually will just set a timer and like that's it, and I'll pick up there tomorrow. All right, so that is my one allotted time, my 10 minutes daily. My other portion of time that I give myself, I call photo time. And my photo time is me time. It's relaxing, it's rejuvenating, and it's quietly focused. I know some people prefer to work with others. That's totally great. Um, I do hold quarterly photo circle workshops, usually online, sometimes in person, where everyone just works. It's like free work time, free time, however you would say that, where everybody just works on whatever their own goals are. And so sometimes I get my own things done there, but most of the time, my photo time is an hour on a Thursday night or an hour on a Sunday afternoon that I just set aside for myself. And I really look forward to the time, which I think is key. If it feels like a chore, it's easy to put it off and avoid it. But I promise you that once you start getting involved with interacting with your photos again, you will look forward to it every time. If you will look forward to it more by working with other people, get a group of friends together, work regularly or whatever. But for me, I look forward to working alone. All right, so those are my two chunks of time that I use, 10 minutes daily and then an hour of photo time once a week. And that prepares me for my process. So here's what I do. to preserve the photos and videos that I take now. I'm going to go over the 5 things that I do, and then I'll actually do it. Like I'll show you how I do it. All right. So the first part of my process is sort of the background, the getting started. I have three things that I do in that background step. So one is that I have the Forever app. It's free. So that's on my phone because that's where I take all my photos and videos anyway. So it's super convenient. The second part of the background step is to buy forever storage. And in my forever storage, just like my own little private part of the cloud. And in my forever storage, I set up organizational folders that are called albums. They're digital albums. And then within those nested albums, kind of like subfolders on your computer. And setting those up is easier on a computer. So I do that during my 10 minutes daily. And I do it long before I even take the photos. So that when I take them, they have a home to go to, an organizational home. And then the third part of that, all the background setup stuff is that I have joined a free savings program called Forever Club so that I can save an extra 5% on all my purchases. I get free shipping on print products. I get free cloud storage. There's a bunch of other perks. It's optional, but I can't think of a reason to not save money and get the best prices on everything. So I've been a member of Forever Club for as long as I've had a Forever account. All right, so that is the first part. That's all the sort of plan ahead stuff that I do before the other 4 parts of my process. So the second part of my process is that each night I quickly upload whatever photos and videos I have taken on my phone that day to my Forever Cloud using the app. You can set it to auto upload so that you take the picture and it, boom, automatically gets put into your Forever account. I prefer to manually upload because if you auto upload, it will save it to the gallery and then you can organize it or just leave it in the gallery or whatever. But because I like to organize it, I like to know exactly where everything is. I I will manually upload. I don't want the screenshots of recipes and stuff to go in there that I would then have to delete later. I just will manually say I want this and this and this photo or whatever. And so anyway, so I do that every night and I can choose the destination of where within my Forever storage account they go. And because I've set up those organizational folders, those albums, like I said, they all have a home. They all have somewhere that I'm putting them. That takes about 0 to 2 minutes every night. Sometimes I don't take any pictures during the day. Sometimes I take a lot, so it kind of varies. But I suggest that if you want to try to get into the habit of doing that, do it while you brush your teeth at night. All right, so the third thing that I do, the third part of my process, is I add descriptions to the photos because a photo without any details loses its value. It's almost like a way to make a photo worthless if it doesn't have the reason you took it or who's in it or when it was taken or where or why. Plus, when I add descriptions, it actually makes scrapbooking those photos go super fast because all I have to do is copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. It's really easy. So I do make sure that I add descriptions to my photos after I've uploaded them to my Forever storage so that I can access them from my computer with a keyboard just because it goes faster. It's faster for me to type than like this on my phone. But I know some people like doing adding the descriptions using their phones using the voice to text option. That is really, really slick. But just be sure you're adding descriptions to the photos after the photo is already in Forever, because once it is, the metadata, the descriptions that you're adding, will actually be permanently attached to them. So if you download it later or whatever, it still has the metadata with it. So anyway, that's the third part is I add descriptions. And I do that during my 10 minutes daily. And I want to show you just quickly what I mean by adding descriptions. So hang on a second. Let me share my screen. I have so many screens open that I want to show you that it's going to take a second. So here we go. All right. So you can see right over here. And just like everything that I'm telling you about Forever, about a Forever storage account, all this stuff, I have tutorial videos. We can set up a time to talk and you can ask me questions or whatever. I'm going over this really, really quickly. But you can see right here is a description. So here's this picture. It looks pretty, it's lovely, but you don't really know what it is until you actually read the description over here at the right where my mouse is moving around. Let me show you a different one, what it would look like on a phone. Let me switch my screen share. So on a phone, you're going to access that little area where you type where you put your description in using this little button right here, the little I, or not button, but like the icon, this little I information icon. And then there will be a place to add a description. So you just tap right there and you can either use your phone's um, mouse, or sorry, your phone's keyboard, or you can use that type to or voice to text thing, which I think is a little easier. All right, sorry, now I have 15 things to close. Okay. I think it's a little easier if you're doing it on your phone, but I like a lot of descriptions, so I like having my keyboard so on my computer so I can type. So you would I upload my photos from my phone using my phone, but then I go in and log in on my computer to my Forever account and I can access everything there. Okay, so that's the third thing I do is I add those descriptions, those all important descriptions. And then what that means now is that my photos and videos have been preserved in the cloud securely and privately, which fulfills one way that photo experts recommend for saving your pictures. So now for the fourth thing that I do in my process, I'm going to do the second way, the second digital way that photo experts recommend of saving your photos, which is they call it on site, which kind of basically means at your house. So after I've done all that and got everything in safely into Forever storage where it's secure and safe and triple backed up and all that stuff. My fourth part of my process is that then I download my photos and videos with their descriptions to my computer. I've set up my Forever account to download the metadata with it, which is a special setting. You can either just download fast and just download your a photo or video to your computer, or you can tell it, no, I want to keep my descriptions with it. And it says it takes longer, which I mean technically it does, but it doesn't take very much longer. And then you will it saves it with metadata and then you download it from there. I'm going to show you how that works. All right, so I've got my Forever account with that special setting so that my descriptions are permanently attached to my files, even when I've downloaded them to my computer. Then the last part of my process, number 5, is what I think is the fun part. I preserve photos in the third way that photo experts recommend, which is print. And because spending time with my photos is so relaxing and grounding and centering and is such a mood boost, there are even studies on how this is true, but I have experienced it myself. Because of that, it doesn't feel like a chore. It's me time. I get to do what I want. And for print, I like using Forever's Artisan for digital scrapbooking because I like the creativity and the flexibility, and kind of just putting together things that way. But for faster photo books, I know a lot of people like the create and print option. It's free. It's right at the Forever website. And I know that that is a time saver that a lot of people really like. I personally don't put my photos and memories in books or in print as part of my 10 minutes daily. I do it in my photo time, but you can do whatever you want. Okay, so I that's my process for preserving the photos and videos that I have right now on my phone. I have a similar process for preserving old photos and videos, a film reel from grandpa or whatever, which I'll mention just at the end of this video. But for now, I want to actually walk you through the process. I want you to see what I do like in real life. Okay, so let me move a few things. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take a picture of myself with my phone. Okay, so here it is. So I'm going to do this. Ready? Okay, took that picture of myself. Now I'm going to my Forever app. I'm going to, and I'm putting my phone right here so you can see it. I have some albums that I've already organized and set up. I'm going to click on this year. Then I'm going to click on July. And then I'm going, because that's what this is right now when I'm recording, then I'm going to click Add to Device, select that photo, and add. It is currently, it is currently uploading from my phone to my Forever storage, and it is done. So now I'm going to show you that video or that picture, but you can do this for videos too, and walk you through those 5 steps so you can see what they look like. So I'm gonna share my screen again. Okay, so with that, here is my screen. I'm just trying to drag my Zoom controls somewhere else. There we go. All right, so you can see that I have a gallery. That's what I mentioned before. That's everything. That's the whole collection of everything that you have. And you can see right there, there's my little picture I just took. I also put it in an album. These are the albums that I set up ahead of time, right? I have things organized by decade. Then inside the decade, albums or folders basically are years. And then within the years are months and etc. I also have some family documents like copies of our driver's license and stuff like that. And then I have some other collections that are not necessarily chronological. This one I just called this year because it's more convenient. It's the first thing that I click. I'm too lazy to scroll to this. And so once this year is done, it will be moved in here. But this is where I put it. This is my this year. You can see that it's in July. And ta-da, there I am. All right, woohoo. Now you can see I've got a description over here that, or a spot for a description. So I'm going to type in, I took this photo while I was what are we calling this? A class giving an online presentation. I want to say I'm wearing my forever shirt. Okay, and the reason that I added that is that every word you put in a description is searchable. So the more information you have in there, the the more words will come up. So if I put forever in here and I'm wearing a forever shirt and something else, or I mentioned I'm at a forever conference or something like that, then all those photos will show up. If this is the only photo where I say I'm giving an online presentation, then this is the only photo that will show up in my search. Okay, so you can also add people and tags, which is a whole nother tutorial. But you can see that the album that I selected for it to be in is this July 2026. That album is something that's an organizational tool that I had set up already. And if we go back to it, You can see I've got some other things in here as well. Okay, so once I have, oh yeah, that's what I was going to do. Once I have, so I set up I bought forever storage, so it's permanently preserved in here for my lifetime plus 100 years, and I can pass it on to my kids. That's what forever storage does. So I did that as part of the first step, and I set up that organizational album, and I am in Forever Club. So that's my first part of my process. That's already done. The second part was to upload, which I did. The third part is to add descriptions, which I did. And now I'm going to show you the fourth thing that I do, which is I'm going to come up here. I'm going to click those three dots, and then I'm going to click download. Now, because I've already set it up as a default to ask me, I am going to say, yes, I do want it with the metadata when I download it, please. So yes, update metadata. Now it's going to tell me down here, download with metadata request received. You'll be notified when it's ready. You can see that little progress bar. It's almost done. I can click view notifications to go right to it, or I can show you where to find it elsewhere. Okay, so now you can see up here at the upper right, you can see my little, well, my picture here at the upper right. If I click it and I click right here, it tells me I have two new updates. One of them was that I uploaded something from my iPhone, which you just saw me do because you just saw me take the picture of myself and upload it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just delete that notification. I don't need that. This is telling me that I have a file with metadata and it's ready for me to download. So what I do, I move myself over here too, is I'm going to click to download, and I'm going to put it in my pictures on my computer. All right. I'm going to click save because that's my little same thing, July 2026 folder. And now I have my photo preserved in the cloud permanently on my computer, which is kind of a backup because computers can crash and all that. But photo experts recommend that you don't just have them in one digital place. So now I've done all of that. Now we're ready for my fifth part of my process, which is to put it in a book. So I'm going to show you very quickly how to do that from create and print. I'm not going to spend any time really going over anything. I'm going to try this one. I'd like it to be 12 by 12, hardcover, standard, personalized. Let's go. Easy, easy. So the way now that I'm going to put it in is right. Oh, let's see. It doesn't matter. Maybe this one. All of this is editable. I'm going to find it just from my gallery, or I could go and find it from albums. But it's right there in my gallery. So let's do that. And then I can say, for fun, I'm showing everyone how to make a book. It's fast. I don't love that font. I'm going to choose Montserrat, or however you pronounce it. And there it is. It's centered, but if I wanted, I could put it at the top, blah, blah, blah. There's a bunch of stuff. Again, that's a different tutorial. I'm done. I'm done. I just put my picture in my book. Yay. The end. What I do, that's create and print though. That's really simple. What I do is I use Artisan. And that's because I like putting pictures and text anywhere I want on a page. And I like it to be all pretty and fancy. So I have you could do this piece by piece. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right. Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure that I am sharing what I think I'm sharing, that you're seeing what I'm seeing. You could put this together from scratch and you put the little embellishments, and they're so cute. That's one option for working in Artisan. The other one is to um, use what's called a template or a blueprint. This is a template, so it was already designed for me. I just threw it in here literally in about 1 minute before I started this video tutorial. So here's how quickly I put in my photos. I'm going to click Get Photos, and it will ask if I want it from Forever or my computer. I have already saved that photo in both places, but I want to get it from Forever because there's a little trick. So I'm going to put this photo now, import. I'm going to put it into my book, my artisan book to use. I'm going to come down here and click Photos Not Used. These are all the photos I haven't used in my book yet. I'm going to click and drag this over to where that little photo placeholder goes. And then here's what I love. Actually, I love all of this, but if I go back and say photos on this page, show me the photo on this page. If I click that little arrow and I click properties, look, that little description that I just put in there is there for me. And I can click copy description, close it out, go to my text box, paste, the end. Oh, looks like I need to change that a little bit. Whatever. Oops. Ta-da. But anyway, fast, fast, fast. That is my process. And I love it so very much because I get all the feels, I get all the benefits, the personal benefits from working with my photos and having them organized and knowing where they are and being able to share them and all that stuff. And then I'm preserving them in all the ways that photo experts recommend. So the last thing that I want to do is tell you just quickly, sorry, I got to move everything around on my computer again, my process for preserving old photos and videos. So this could be like scanning old photos or digitizing negatives or old, home movies on film reels or VHS tapes or whatever. So I basically do the same 5 steps, except there's one difference in step number 2. So one is I set up the organizational folders. I usually do that during my 10 minutes daily. I'm in Forever Club. I have Forever Storage, whatever. The second one is different because I'm looking at old photos and videos. I'm not uploading anything from my phone. So for the second part of my process for preserving old photos and videos, I use Forever's digitization service to get that outdated media into a digitized form so that it's not only viewable and preserved, but also shareable, which is so much fun. I have done this during my photo time before, 10 minutes daily kind of a thing, but um, I've also done it during I've done it during my photo time, but I've also done it during my 10 minutes daily. I had a project once where I wanted to just scan in my kids' baby books, and I did them all in 11 by, what is that, 8.5 by 11. So I have a scanner that'll just do that. So I was like, I'll just, do it myself. It felt a little bit daunting at first because it's all these pages, but I was amazed. I wanted to see what I could accomplish in 30 days of 10 minutes a day. And I did I want to say it was like 260 some pages. I did 2 complete baby books out of the 3 baby books that I had. So the 10 minutes daily is really, really a thing. And you can help get your outdated media into digitized form that way. I do caution you about doing your own scanning. If you want to do it, that's awesome, but it takes time. And if it just becomes one more thing on your to-do list, send it off to the professionals at Forever because it gets off your to-do list now. It's an amazing feeling. And then the third part of my process for preserving photos and videos that are old, that aren't on my phone, is, once it's digitized, then I add the descriptions. Once it's in my Forever storage, I add the descriptions to it. My fourth step is the same as before. I download those files with their descriptions to my computer and save them there. And then the fifth is, depending on the photos and videos, sometimes I'm done. If they're already in print elsewhere, I just, that they're in print, great. But sometimes I do preserve those newly scanned, newly discovered photos I do preserve those in print as well. So this is my personal tried and true system. It can work exactly like this for you if you wanted to, or if you want to make some adjustments to make it fit you better, great. Either way, I can help you if you need any help or have questions. I'll show my business card with my contact information here at the end. But this is a really amazing way to just be, you know, the guardian of your photos and memories and have them preserved safely and securely and privately so that they can be passed on. And it's a really great system that works for me. So I hope that you have found something that will be amazing. Whether you, like I said, whether you follow every single one of my steps that I mentioned, or you just kind of pick and choose some of the things that will work for you. So this is my contact information. I love helping people. I always like to say, I'm nice and talking to me is free. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. Thank you for caring about your photos and videos. They matter. They're so good for our hearts and souls. And so I hope that my process will help you get get where you want to be with your photos and videos and memories.